There's this puzzle, this major contradiction that's been hiding in plain sight within the Bible for centuries. It's a puzzle that really seems to undermine the whole foundation of the story. But what if it's not a mistake? In this explainer, we're going to dive into a hidden code that claims to solve this puzzle, and in doing so, it completely redefines our understanding of where true authority really comes from. All right, so where do we even begin? Well, our whole investigation kicks off with a problem that has puzzled readers and scholars for ages: a direct contradiction, right there in the heart of the Gospels. And here it is, the big riddle. How is it that the Gospels of Matthew and Luke give us two totally different family trees for the same person? I mean, this isn't just a minor slip-up. They list different grandfathers, different ancestral lines. So how is that even possible? Okay, let's actually look at this side by side, because it's kind of wild. On one hand, Matthew's gospel traces the lineage through the famous royal line of King Solomon, and it names the grandfather as Jacob. But then you flip over to Luke's gospel, and it traces the family tree through Solomon's brother, Nathan, and says the grandfather was Heli. They don't just disagree on a name or two, we're talking about two fundamentally different paths through history. So you look at that, and it seems like an impossible knot to untangle, right? But the source material we're examining suggests a radical idea. What if we've all been looking in the wrong place? Instead of getting hung up on the names that are on the lists, maybe, just maybe, the answer lies in who's missing. To get to the bottom of this, we've got to go way back, all the way back to the book of Genesis, because there we meet this incredibly mysterious and powerful figure who he just appears, seemingly out of nowhere. Yeah, his name is Melchizedek. It means King of Righteousness, which is a pretty epic title. And get this, he's not just a king, he's also a high priest. That was super rare back then. Honestly, he's one of the most puzzling characters in the entire Old Testament. And the way he's described later in the book of Hebrews, it's just wow. It says he's without father or mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life. Think about that. In a culture where your bloodline was everything, here's this guy who exists completely outside of it. He represents a whole different kind of authority, one that's eternal. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what does this mysterious king with no family tree have to do with those two conflicting genealogies? Well, according to the source material we're looking at, he has everything to do with it. He is the key. This is where the code really starts to open up. So here's the argument step by step. First, you've got your traditional priesthoods, right? For them, bloodline was non-negotiable. You had to have the papers to prove it. Second, those two different family trees for Jesus, or Yahusha, totally blow that rule out of the water. So third, Melchizedek shows up as this alternative, a priesthood that's not about who your dad was, but about belonging to an eternal order. And that leads to the big connection. The claim is that Jesus' real authority doesn't come from any earthly list of names, but from this higher eternal order. So once you put all those pieces together, the picture starts to become a lot clearer. And you realize those conflicting family trees, they're not a mistake. They're not something to be explained away. They're actually a signpost pointing to something much, much bigger. And this is the absolute heart of the Melchizedek Code. The hidden name everyone's been looking for in the family tree. It's not a person, it's an order, a spiritual priesthood that operates completely outside of bloodlines. Basically, the idea is that the two genealogies are there to cancel each other out on purpose. It's a way of saying, hey, look away from these lists. The authority being claimed here isn't based on human lineage. It's based on something way older, way more powerful, the eternal priesthood of Melchizedek. So if this code is real, what does it all mean? Well, the implications are huge. For one, it suggests that real spiritual authority doesn't come from some human organization or institution. It's direct. It also totally redefines lineage as something spiritual, not just genetic. And here's the most radical part. If that's true, it makes you question the need for traditional gatekeepers. The institutions that say they are the only way to spiritual truth. Now, this is way more than just a fun ancient brain teaser. The source material argues this code has some really direct and challenging things to say about how we think about power and authority in our own lives right here, right now. And that leaves us with this one big, lingering question to think about. If the highest form of authority is truly spiritual and internal, not granted by any organization, then what is the role of the institutions we build our world around? It's a code that challenges us to look beyond the family trees and the gatekeepers, and that's definitely something worth thinking about.